On the live coverage of the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari, State House correspondent Femi Akonde is still live for us in Abuja, talking to us about his, times with the former president, especially the fact that he covered the president for many years. Femi, talk to us about what you saw as a State House correspondent covering the former President Muhammadu Buhari and what his relationship is like with the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, his relationship with President Bola Tinubu is quite strong, even though we know that a lot of people try to drive a wedge between these two men, especially in the build-up to the elections in 2023. There were a lot of speculation. Some people even said that President Muhammadu Buhari did not support President Bola Tinubu's candidacy. But eventually we could see that, what former President Muhammadu Buhari tried to do was to create a level playing field, as a Democrat. He did not show his preferred candidate or whom he was more disposed to winning that presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. Like he said, I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody. He lived true to his word. One thing he was able to promise President Bola Tinubu is that he would create that level playing field. He will not put President Bola Tinubu at a disadvantage, even though some people working with former President Muhammadu Buhari at that time, tried to bring up some kind of policies, especially with, that cash withdrawal regime of the former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. A lot of people called it cash confiscation regime when they tried to change the Naira note, that they believe was targeted at President Bola Tinubu when he was still an aspirant of the All Progressives Congress. But despite all of this, the relationship between these two men did not turn sour at any point. We still saw President Bola Tinubu visit the presidential villa, holding meetings, holding talks with then President Muhammadu Buhari. Eventually, when President Bola Tinubu won that primary election, President Muhammadu Buhari came out in full swing, to throw his support behind the candidate of the APC, his friend with whom he worked together to get the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress in 2013, 2014, before he was also able to win the presidential election, defeating an incumbent in 2015. So, the relationship between these two men have been quite cordial. And we've also seen, that portrayed by the way President Bola Tinubu is mourning or reacting to the news of the death of President Muhammadu Buhari, declaring, a national mourning of 7 days, flags to fly at half-mast, and also leading the team, first dispatching the Vice President to London to collect the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari and bring him back to Nigeria for burial, and also leading the team to Katsina State, where President Muhammadu Buhari's body will be received and then taken to Daura for funeral. President Bola Tinubu has been very much involved, neck deep involved in this whole preparations and planning for the funeral of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And this also goes to show that indeed these two men were quite close. And this is one thing that President Bola Tinubu is doing for his friend and political ally, former President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, as President Muhammadu Buhari's legacies are also there for all to see. As president, he came on board at a very difficult time in Nigeria's history, when he took over as president. Crude oil prices plummeted, to about $50 per barrel from about over $100 per barrel. That was a very difficult moment for the country. At that time, 33 out of 36 states in the country could not pay salaries. President Muhammadu Buhari had to even assist states, give them monies to be able to meet some of their obligations at the sub-national level, before he then introduced the Economic Recovery Growth Program, which which was an initiative by his administration to jumpstart the economy. This was going on very well until COVID-19 struck. It was a global pandemic, and just like other countries in the world, Nigeria was also hit with this pandemic. Nigeria's economy suffered, and the economy then went into recession. So President Muhammadu Buhari did his best with his policies and programs that were put in place to help, pull Nigeria off the brink, which it was when he assumed leadership as president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Bosse.
Akonde, we thank you very much for that. We'll get back to you. Live pictures from the international wing of the airport now in Katsina State. President Bola Tinubu has arrived. Okay, President Bola Tinubu's advance team is right there now, waiting to receive the president, who would then receive the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Remember, former President Buhari was a commander of the military, both in his capacity as head of state and as democratically elected president. And this is a state funeral, and we see here military officers gathered to pay their respects. We have officers from the Nigerian Navy, from the Nigerian Army, and from the Nigerian Air Force to celebrate the life and times of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, he was commander-in-chief as democratically elected president and as military head of state. So we see the advance team of President Bola Tinubu on ground there. So Femi, let's talk about this advance team. What do we expect? What is this supposed to be like?
Well, this is an indication that any moment from now, President Bola Tinubu will touch down. We believe his plane is already on ground. We're expecting him to alight from the aircraft anytime soon, because from what we can see on screen, these are members of his main body. That's those that fly with the president on his own aircraft. We expect any moment from now he will alight from the aircraft. It might just be a taxiing, or we do not have that picture right now on screen to tell exactly what is going on. But I believe President Bola Tinubu is already on the tarmac of that airport, the Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Katsina State. We're already seeing everything is in place. The members of the Guards Brigade are already on ground, to receive President Bola Tinubu, where he will take the state salute at that podium there. And he would also inspect a guard of honor. After that, we also believe that the aircraft carrying the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari is also getting close to the airport there in Katsina State. Well, it seems that's a plane moving close to the tarmac. We believe that will be carrying President Bola Tinubu. So we also expect that plane carrying the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari is also getting close to the Katsina airport. President Bola Tinubu is already on ground to receive the body of his predecessor. Vice President Kashim Shettima will accompany that body. He was dispatched by President Bola Tinubu to go get the body or the remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari back to Nigeria, back home for burial. That is already in place. All of these processes have been kick-started. After here, they will then move to Daura. We do not know how the body will be taken to Daura. Daura is about 45 minutes by road from here, from this particular airport in Katsina State. We do not know if the body will be flown on the chopper down to Daura, or if they will go by road. Well, if they will go by road, it's going to be a bit hectic, but the presidential team is on ground, all security agencies are on ground, so they will be able to make way for that body to get to Daura, because the kind of court followership former President Muhammadu Buhari commands in northern Nigeria. We expect that the whole place will be crowded. Everyone want to get a front seat view of what is happening. Everyone will want to pay their last respect to a man that a lot of them refer to as Megaskia, that a man of truth, a man they also call, the man of the people. There are so many names by which former President Muhammadu Buhari is fondly called by the people, that follow him. Even in the political circle, those that follow President Muhammadu Buhari are also called the Buharists. That became very popular in the build-up to the 2015 election. The Buharists, just like you have the Baptists, those that follow Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these politicians, also have their cult followership. And that of former President Muhammadu Buhari is quite huge, and he has been able to, sustain this followership over time for several years, several attempts at contesting for the seat of president. This same followership, was sustained. He was able to cultivate, their loyalty, and eventually, with the support and partnership with President Bola Tinubu and the Action Congress of Nigeria and other opposition blocs that then coalesced into the All Progressives Congress, they were able to win that election in 2015. We can see the Guard of Honor already on ground waiting to receive President Bola Tinubu, who will move around and inspect the Guard of Honor before taking the state salute there at the state box provided at the Musa Yar'Adua Airport. I don't know if that airport is international. Well, Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Katsina State. Bosse.
All right, Femi, well, thank you very much for that analysis.